Drake! I can't hear you or see you. What's up, brother? Welcome to the Hangout Live right here with Robby Lochner and Drake on every single streaming platform you can think of. And we're glad to be back. Well, not every single. We're not on Pornhub. Or are we?
All right, then.
That is the question. So welcome back, brother. I'm home. From last week, I made it home. I was stuck up in Boise last week for the show, and that was an experience. Beautiful place, and I fell in love with it. But good to be back in good old West Texas today. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know how it is, keeping busy. Busy.
Always busy. We're always busy. All right. So the audience is starting to jump on here. We've got Blair Abernathy, Dana Selvey. Dana Selvey is so beyond excited about tonight's show. I think she's crushing really, really hard on Adrian, our guest tonight. So we'll have to talk about that coming up. And all the other folks. Kim, our hearts and prayers go out to you and hope that the medical treatments are going well for you. And keep fighting the fight and F cancer. That's all we got to say. All right. So tonight's guest, man, we've got the man, brother. There could be only one, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. It's Adrian Paul. I'm going to bring him in. I'm not waiting, bro.
Bring him in. Yeah.
We're not going to chit chat. We're going to bring him in. What's up, brother?
Hey, dude, I'll tell you what, if I had $1 for every time somebody said that.
I know, right? If I had $1 for every time I said it this week on the radio. Let me switch you out there because for some reason the banners are coming up huge tonight. So we don't want to do that and cover your face because, you know, you're the one who gets paid to be on these shows, not us.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid.
Right.
They pay to see you on TV, brother. They don't pay to see you. I have a voice or a face for radio. So
and a fabulous voice it is too, brother.
What?
So you've got such a good voice.
Thanks, brother, man. So we're going to take it back to the beginnings, man. We're going to go all the way back to London. And growing up in London, the year was 19 blah that you were born. I'm not going to put your age out there, but a little bit younger than me. And what was it like growing up in London, dude? Because, I mean, obviously, we all dream about that kind of scenario being over here, that London has such an appeal for us. What was it like growing up in London?
It's always the same. Something elsewhere is always more appealing than where you're at, right? So, you know, London was like anywhere else. I mean, I was lucky. I grew up in a middle-class family. So, you know, I could walk to school. I could go to the park. I could go to the woods. I could do it and have no problem. Back then, you know, you can go and do things that today you're like, I wouldn't let my kids go and do certain things now, you know? So it's kind of England's wet. That's why I don't live there anymore at the moment, you know. So it's a pretty wet place to be. So, you know, California is it for now, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be here forever. I travel a lot. So, but London treated me good. I enjoyed it.
Nice, brother. Nice. We've got a friend of ours, Stuart Marriott. He's a model and actor and part of the Marriott chain. He's over there right now. And that's what he was telling me is it's constantly wet.
Have you been to Seattle?
I have.
That's England.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, see, that's
it. Vancouver, Seattle has the same weather. So, you know, all you got to do is change the accents and you're fine.
So speaking of accents, you've still got your English accent, man. It's stuck with you all these years. That's killer.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, you know, it changes depending on who I'm talking to and if I really want to, you know.
Right.
I'm an actor, so I have to sort of change the accent from time to time, you know.
I understand that completely. I bet that's caused some issues with getting roles and being able to have to change dialect and inflection in your voice.
You know, sometimes it's interesting because I've done roles before where I started putting an accent on. They're like, no, we want you in your own voice. And I'm like, but this character is from, you know, one of it was a Polish vampire. I'm like, well, what am I speaking? Why would I be speaking English? So I had this accent thing, and there's kind of different roles. People go, we just want to hear who you are. The same thing with Sean Connery happened. Do you remember the Hunt for Red October?
Oh yeah.
Right. So the Hunt for Red October, everybody learned a Russian accent for 2-3 months But then the lead actor got changed, and Sean Connery came in, and he was like, "Well, I'm not doing that accent. I'm going to do my own." So he just everybody went back to doing English. So that's how it was.
I never thought about how it didn't make sense that his Scottish accent didn't really fit the role of that U-sub commander.
Yeah, but imagine he played a Spaniard in Highlander. And he's talking like this, and then you've got Christopher Lambert, who's got kind of a French accent, playing a Scot. It was kind of an interesting, but reality is what it is.
Right? How cool is that, man? So, were your families in? Was your mom, dad, everybody? Were they actors? Were they artists? Were they?
No. My dad was a travel agent. He used to get people jobs. He was traveling everywhere. My mom was a stay-at-home mom who had 3 boys to contend with. God bless her heart for having to do that. Now just having 2 is enough. Boys, that is. But no, they weren't in the business. They were just regular folk, and my dad traveled a lot. I think that's where I got the travel bug from.
Interesting.
Right.
So how did you fall into it then? What was the catalyst to making you go that direction?
Well, gosh, since we're starting way back, we'll start way back. I started back in England. I started modeling. I won a competition that my girlfriend put me in. It was not something I really was planning on, and I won this competition. I'd never won a thing in my life, and she won me this competition that gave me a spread in a magazine, which got me an agent, which then got me onto doing fashion shows. Then I started doing dance shows, and then choreography, and I liked being on stage doing live performances. And then I started doing vaudeville type stuff, and I started taking acting lessons there, and then I came over here. So it kind of rolled into it. And the first time I really got the bug was when I came to California. I was in a class by a guy called Roy London, and who's passed many years ago, but he was Brad Pitt's coach. He was Helen Hunt, a whole bunch of people that he went through. And I remember sitting in a class one time, and it's funny because I was actually talking about it on my radio show 2 days ago, about how when that's what you're supposed to do, you get that gut feeling. I'm supposed to do this. I want to do this. This is what I want. And I got one of those. So, that's how it kind of started. I got the bug really in LA. The real bug. The semi-bug was prior.
You didn't move to LA. You didn't move to LA specifically for that then? No. I came to LA as a choreographer and as a model, basically. I had a buddy of mine who said, hey, listen, I live in Costa Mesa. Why don't you come over? And I'm like, all right, fine. I had nothing better to do. So I came over to Costa Mesa and started hanging out here. And then I got an agent here. And then one of the first jobs I got was choreographing. Well, I actually modeled it was a catwalk, counts of 8, basically, like a really, choreographed type of job for a hair company called Sebastian International. And Sebastian, they were huge. They actually had this place in Woodland Hills at one point. They were huge. And at the dinner afterwards, I played this pimp. And the owner of the company said to me, he goes, I went and sat down at the table, and he wasn't really kind of talking to me. And then he was Italian. I started talking Italian. He went, oh, my God, you're Italian. No, I thought you were this stuck up, blah, 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 blah. And I went, no, I'm not. I'm just do what I do. That was what I was playing. And we were talking. He's like, yeah. He said, what do you do? I said, well, I choreograph. He said, well, I'm actually looking for a choreographer for our shows. So from that point on, I showed him my reel, and I started choreographing for Sebastian for all their hair shows through Texas and the East Coast and everywhere they went. I had 30 girls I was choreographing, girls that had never done anything, girls that got choreographed. So that's kind of how I started. And then, while I was doing that, I was still taking acting lessons and that, to pay the rent. And I got the first thing I ever got, which was the Colby's first job here.
So modeling and hair kind of matches this photo I've got up here.
Yeah, that was actually my real hair. That was I still have it, kind of.
Nice, brother, nice.
I don't. Hey, we can wear wherever. Anyway, but you know, that picture's like that picture there was taken during Highlander in my apartment in Paris. It was this huge apartment, great apartment. I had this glass wall of glass overlooking this courtyard. It was such a cool apartment, just one level. It was great, and I did photo shoots there. I did rehearsals there. It was cool, great time. So now you know a little history on that photo.
Nice.
Although I haven't seen it in years.
So 87 you came over, right? And
I came 84. Yeah, 84 I came over. Yeah.
So first TV appearances were in 87 on Beauty and the Beast?
Nope. First one was Colby's, which was 85. Colby's, I think it was. 85 was the Colby's. God, now you're dating me. 85. So that was it. And then Beauty and the Beast was, I think, 86, 87.
Nice. So when the modeling started turning into acting, I mean, were you confident in your abilities, or did you just think, man, I'm getting in over my head? Or
no, you know, I'm the type of person that will work my ass off to do something if I'm going to try and do it. So I figured I had to do the work. So I was doing classes, I was doing all the stuff. So I was fairly confident. The first role I got, which was, as I said, the Colbys, I was playing a Russian ballet dancer in an American TV show, and I made English Italian. So it was a really kind of like mixture. So, and the first day I got on set, I ran into Charlton Heston. First kind of star I kind of met into. And I walked into Charlton. He goes, "Hi there." I says, we've been looking forward to seeing you. I've been like, really? You're Moses, for Christ's sake. You know, like, I don't know who's been looking more forward to seeing who, but they've been casting this role for a while, you know, so I got that role, and that was the first thing I got.
That's crazy, brother. Charlton Heston, your first big
first person, and it was kind of cool. That was kind of cool because there was Stephanie Beacham on the show. There was Barbara Stanwyck, who's since passed, a lovely lady, and there's some really cool older established actors on that set. So it was really great to work with them, you know. And then later on, I got to see Angela Lansbury when I worked on Murder, She Wrote. Yeah. So cool. You know, she was. People always ask me that. Although my wife says to me that's the worst performance I've ever done.
Really?
She didn't like it. Oh, what can I tell you?
On Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
So that was like 92, somewhere in there, right?
No, that was actually earlier because Highlander was 91, and that was about 90. I say 89, 90, I think it was. So 91 was when I got Highlander, and I'd already done another series prior to that, or I'd actually. Two series, yeah. I've done two series prior to that. I'd done Colby's, and I did War of the Worlds, which was shot in Toronto. That was an experience. Shooting in disused buildings. You wouldn't be able to do it today, but disused buildings that had asbestos hanging from the ceiling because it looked good, you know. So, yeah, absolutely, yeah. They're all gone now, but you know. So today, this strict regulations are entirely different, you know. But then there was so there's War of the Worlds. I did that, and then I did another thing that was supposed to go on CBS, and it was supposed to be a series called The Owl. And it was. So people ask me, well, why didn't this go? Why didn't that go? And I'm like, well, The Owl, for instance, was a green-lit series for about 5 minutes. Somebody else then decided, no, we're not going to do it because there was a change of another executive came in and no, we're not going to do it. Because I spoke to the producer like a few years later. He said, do you know how close we were to doing the series there? It's literally the night before we were going to go, and then it got cancelled. So we'd done the pilot, and it was similar to Highlander in its essence, a lone wolf, you know, wandering the streets, helping out people type of thing, long coat. So I guess I was already marked for long coats at that point.
Right. So I heard you did 2 episodes of Tarzan.
Yeah. I went down to Mexico for that. That was it was kind of fun. It was I actually I tell this story lightly, but I remember the actress. I'm not going to mention which one, but anyway, usually when you do scenes that involve hitting another actor, you pass in front of the actor's face and they react to it so it looks like a hit. Well, right. Now,
On the actress's on my close up, the actress went across it and did this, and I would take it, and it looked like a hit. On her close up, which I'm kind of off camera, right? You're not supposed to. She smacked me on the face the first time, and I was like, "You don't really need to do that." It's It's just, she goes, "Oh, okay." Second take, whack! She hits me harder. I'm like, "Look, I just said you don't have to hit me." Then the third time she did it again. I said, "You do that again, I'm going to smack you back." Because it's just not on, sweetheart.
Right.
I wasn't going to, but the point is that you can't do that to another. I've seen that in martial arts as well. I've done, a lot of shows, a lot of martial art leads in that will hurt stuntmen just because it makes them feel big. I don't need to feel big to hurt somebody like that. I don't need to. I can prove it a different way, So,
right.
Wow.
Well, I always wondered how they pull off the hits so perfectly.
Well, the thing is, I've been smacked in the face everywhere so many times, and if you look at it on screen, it doesn't look like anything.
Right.
I mean, I watched a shot one time when we did takes, because I was always watching outtakes, and somebody hit me in the face in the scene. I went, "Oh, that's going to look really good." When we looked at the shot, it didn't look very good, because all you're seeing is that, and you don't see the reaction. The whole point about the movie camera is that you take the reaction to show that that's been a hit, and then you've got a sound effect that goes into it. So it needs that, otherwise it just doesn't sell. So
it's got to be over dramatized with the movement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if I smack you in the face like this, you've got to do something to it to kind of take that hit, to make it read to the audience, because what you're doing is you're transmitting a feeling to them. They're getting it from a visual from you. And so, you kind of have to do that, and taking that hit, it sells. That's what sells a punch, sells a hit, sells a strike, sells it, whatever, a kick, even.
Wow.
Yeah, the sound bite for sure helps, because if you watch something and you take the sound out and you watch the fight scene, you start going, it doesn't look as real as when you're hitting it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Or you do it like they did in the old Batman, pow.
Remember that? It used to come up, bam, bam. Yeah, I used to love
bam.
That.
So you don't have to get hit.
Exactly. So, how much martial arts training did you go through prior to the filming of, let's say the Highlander or whatever? Did you take martial arts prior to that? Was that something that was already part of your life growing up?
No, I actually started about a year and a half prior to doing the show. I started doing some kickboxing. I mean, I'd always, my parents were always like, "Well, you got temper, you got to, do it." So I'd be hitting a bag. I learned a couple of little things, nothing really. But then when I got to the show, I really started studying. Like I studied 2-3 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. I mean, I was even 7 days a week sometimes. After the season broke, I went away for 2-3 months, and I was training with, in a class and privately, to get up to speed with weapons and hand. And then I continued. So, if you look at what I did in the first season compared to the fifth, there's a drastic difference, because my movements are different. I understand where to strike somebody, takedowns, all those types of things. So it immensely helped to constantly practice, which is what I teach people now, with my company, the Sword Experience, when I take them on these little trips that we do, where I even have I'm doing a retreat to Mexico probably at the end of the year, where I show them how to strike, how to do certain things. And, it's really, it's a process. And I say to people, if you can't get it now, it doesn't matter. Keep doing it, because somebody that's got talent compared to somebody that doesn't have as much talent but practices, that person that's going to practice is going to get better, much better. And so you just keep doing it, and then you will, surpass your goals even, which I love when people go, "I didn't even realize I could do this."
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I honestly, it takes the work, and putting in the work, just like you do radio. You have a couple radio shows that you do.
Yeah.
With Ethan, right? With Ethan?
Yeah, with Ethan.
Yeah, I have one with Ethan Detmeyer, which is called Peace Fund Radio. We talk all about charities and children's charities. We've done over 600 hours of it now, so we've been doing this since 2012, I think it is.
Wow.
So we've really rocked that. And then I have the Hollywood Experience, which talks to various actors and directors and martial artists, choreographers. I actually spoke today with Mike Chatt, who's the world champion. He's in, I can't remember his stars. He does Kung Fu, and he was the world champion several years. He's inducted into the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. He's also, a choreographer and that. And his experiences in being in the movies. And everybody's got something different. Even though we're doing the same product, everybody's got a different story to tell.
Right.
The things that didn't happen, the things that went wrong, the things went right, their perspective on things. And, since my business is the sword experience, which talks about action, then, the podcast or the radio show basically fits perfectly for it.
That's badass, man.
So I didn't ask you about Charmed because Matt Drake had a boyhood crush on Alyssa Milano.
I had a hideous crush. I was like the kid, oh man, I was glued to the TV. Let me see if I can find the picture right here. Let's see what we've got here. Is this the right one? No, that's not it. Let's get to the right
that's
one.
Sir Francis Drake. That was one of the funnest things I ever did. That was, yeah, it really was. It was one, yeah, it was one of those kind of B movie type of things. And they told me about it, and I'm like, oh, this I can just see what the special effects are going to be on this because they're going to do it. And so I was like, look, let me just, because when I do a character, I go and do research on the character. And what I found about Sir Francis Drake was that he was a really egotistical megalomaniac, pretty much. He was like, really loved himself. So I overplayed that, and it became a comedy. So everybody started playing it. I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. The writer was like, oh my God, oh no, he's playing it. And then he went, well, actually, that kind of works. So that was so much fun to do. Shot that in Romania, actually. In Bulgaria.
So that's our odd connection, brother.
Bulgaria?
No.
Yes.
Sir Francis
or listen, Milano. Which one?
My ancestry goes back to Sir Francis Drake in Devon, England.
Oh, does it really?
Sure.
But you don't talk like a Devoner. No, not like from there. That's where the pirate's accent comes from, doesn't it?
I'm a state guy, but yes, that's my lineage, that's my bloodline. So I didn't realize that until we were looking through production notes, and I thought, man, that's kind of cool. Because when I was in high school, I thought it was cool. I just kept thinking, wow, he circumnavigated the globe by water only. He fought the Spanish Armada. He did all these great things, and then I had a teacher tell me, hey, you need to do a thesis on Sir Francis Drake and do study on him. And then I found out all kinds of things about him, that like he was this hideous human being.
Yeah, exactly. He was not the best guy. He was so consumed. Yeah. So
yeah. He was not a person that you would be proud to say that's my ancestor, but it's my ancestor.
Isn't it funny how people ask me a lot? So you've done a lot of flashbacks, different eras. Which one would you like to live in? And I'm like, well, to be totally honest, I don't really know what it was like then to live in that time. Yeah. We're used to living in this time with running water and amenities and that. Back then, you got the street. You've got water out the well. You got, so I can't really answer that question. And through history, as time goes by, we immortalize, if you like, or kind of come up with these fantasy stories about characters that it might not be totally true of who they are. Like you just said, right. Sir Francis Drake was this, and then when you really read about him, you're like, oh, actually, he wasn't that nice.
He wasn't a great person. Now, the Alyssa Milano thing, brother.
Ah, yes, there you go. Yes.
Brother.
Yes.
That makes me sweat even showing the picture.
Yeah, his eyeballs.
God bless you.
Hit me in the side of the head with something. I just want to leave it up there for a while, but I can't. So what was that like being on Charmed? Obviously, the show had such a cult following.
It did, yeah. It did.
And it was a great show. I actually remember you being on there. And because I watched every episode, I just tell myself. Even my mom has tuned in tonight. Oh God, I thought I would have to take him to therapy over Alyssa. She said. She might have. It might have happened.
They were all kind of cool. It was a fun set to play. When you've got a successful TV show,
right.
The crew knows how to work. They've done it for a long time, and they actually shot it in I want to say Chatsworth. It wasn't Chatsworth. It was in that area out there. That's where they were doing it. But it was a, I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I remember you on Charmed." I'm like, "Really? Did you?" "No, I only did one episode." "No, but we used to watch it all the time." So there was a big following for it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
great show. But you okay? So let me just show this. I'm going to show this on camera. I don't normally do this. These are production notes for Adrian, and these are all shows, series, movies, and things that you have done throughout your career. And I'm going to tell you, Robby can agree with our prep over the show for the last year. This is one of the longest lists that we have looked at. So I was looking at it earlier, and I'm like, my God, we're going to do a 6-hour show tonight. You were on WWE SmackDown?
Yep, I was. Yeah, I was.
Come on, brother, you didn't do that.
Yeah, and I've got to tell you a funny story on that one. That was a funny story because me and Christophe Lambert, we were going there to promote Highlander, the new Highlander movie that we were both in, Highlander Endgame. So you know how WWE always has stories on things, right? So the story was Adrian Paul is really excited to meet The Rock. So my whole thing was, where's The Rock? I want to meet The Rock. Where's The Rock? But no, I hadn't watched it. And Dwayne Johnson comes up to me and goes, "Hi, I'm Dwayne." I go, "Hi, nice to meet you, man." I had no idea that it was him. Not a clue. Afterwards, that's The Rock. I went, "Oh God, that was really good." Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, man? Good to see you. Whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, you're like, where is he, man? You're blowing my opportunity.
You're blocking my view.
Oh God,
Wayne.
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So, what did you do on SmackDown?
We just went up. I mean, we were ringside trying to sort of, a lot of it's staged. You got the little stories and stuff, and me and him they promoted it, saying, "Oh, we got 2 stars in the audience today. There's Adrian Paul and Christophe Lambert. They're doing the new Highlander movie." Da da da. Well, when you got 90,000 people, that's good advertising, right? So,
yeah, right.
It was actually done. We did it in the East Coast, somewhere in New Jersey, I think it was. But so that's when we went in. It was a quick promotional thing that we did.
That's nice, brother. Nice. Jody Dominguez is in the house. Jody Dominguez is the lead singer of the State Line Band. Thank you for tuning in tonight, Jody. We've got all kinds of questions coming up for you, brother, and I'm trying to hold them at bay because they want to get ahead of where we are in the show. But I'm going to have to start dropping them. So Dana Selvey, this isn't really a question. She says, "I bought my husband a Clan MacLeod sword for Christmas 1 year ago, and it got forgotten when we moved." She's brokenhearted.
Shall I tell you another story then about a Clan MacLeod? I was given one because I have some in storage. I have one in storage, and I keep some things in the storage. This was about a year and a half ago, I got a call from storage, and they said to me, "Excuse me, sir, but we've had some lockers broken into, and we think yours is one of them, but you need to come down and check what's missing." And I went, "Okay." So I went there, and so I went in there, and I'm like, "There's not a lot missing." And so I go into the office. They said, "Yeah, well, I said, "Well, what's that doing there?" There's the Claymore, and the Claymore's about it's about 5.5 feet. It's not small. It's about 5 feet. It's a big sword. And so they said, "Yeah, well, they grabbed that and they jumped the wall, but they couldn't carry it, so they dropped it in the middle of the street."
Wow.
They just dropped the thing and ran off.
Wow.
So I got it back, but forgetting it, I guess, is worse.
Right? So Kimmy says, "Adrian, please, dear God, make more Highlander movies. We need more of that." We've got, who's this? Says, "I wonder what his favorite moment during filming Highlander was. What scene stood out to him the most? What was most impressive?"
Let's put it like this. I had so many great memories on Highlander. I had some fabulous people to work with. They were, they became friends of mine, and so people that like Elizabeth Grayson and Stan Kirsch, rest his soul, and Jim Burns, Peter Wingfield, all those were great times. I could, obviously, Roger Daltrey on the show was a great fun time we had. I mean, Roland Gift. So it's great memories. But I can probably say, and I should, and I've said this many times before, I should contact the Guinness Book of Records, because I think I'm the only actor in the world that's ever done a tango and a sword fight on the Eiffel Tower in the same day.
Seriously?
Yeah. I did a sword fight, and it was I did a tango with Elizabeth Grayson, and we actually had Entertainment Tonight there at the time, and or was it HBO? I think it was one of them anyway. And we were supposed to do the tango along a straight line, and we'd rehearse doing the tango and the turns and all. And we get up there, and it's a tiny little narrow platform like this, with a drop of about 15 feet into boxes in case we fell, and it's already raining and drizzling. The water's, and I'm like, anybody want to tell us before we get up here, before we're doing it? And then that night, because, you know, I mean, you don't really notice something. It's like going up a mountain. You know, when you go skiing, you look up a mountain, you go, oh, it looks okay. I can go down that Black Diamond Run. And you get to the top, and you're like, oh, I'm in trouble, you know. So the Eiffel Tower is exactly the same. You know, you got up, it goes up to the second level, and then it goes up to the top level. Well, we were filming on the second level, and that in the middle of it, or at the end of it, we had to wait between doing the sword fight, which is on that level, for later in the day when it had gotten dark and they could light the whole thing. And one of the people from the Eiffel Tower turned around at me and said, Monsieur Paul, would you like to go to the top? And I'm like, sure. And I'm not great on heights. And we get in this elevator. We get in the elevator. It's a glass bottom elevator. And I look down, and the ground is pulling away from us like 400, 500 feet in the air. And I'm like, oh my God. And I get to the top, and we go through clouds. And now we're sitting above the clouds in this tiny little cockpit thing where they control everything. And he says, oh, would you like to see this? I said, no, I'm fine. I'll come back downstairs. Thank you very much.
I couldn't do it, brother.
So that was a memory. Yeah, no heights. I'm not a big heights person.
No way.
So what would a typical day on the set of that show be like? What time would you start? How long would you film? I mean, what goes on? I mean, how much sitting around when other people are you just go? Or I mean,
well, I was the lead in it, and I was in every single shot. So and everything. So we would, and that answers kind of a two-part question. The part is like in Vancouver, it was probably about an 11-hour day, right? Because we would shoot about 9-10 hours. So it was an 11-hour day. We would get in early, you know, an hour and a half, depending on what the makeup was for certain things, before blocking the scene and getting ready and all that stuff. In Paris, however, we would shoot only like a 10-hour day, because the French didn't do 9 or 10 hours. They wouldn't do overtime. They would only they'd have their wine and go home and whatever. So they had to go, and we would shoot 8 days instead of 7, because we'd have to make up the extra hours we couldn't shoot in Vancouver. So, you know, it was but it was all go. I mean, it was all literally, if I wasn't working on a particular scene there, I'd be looking at the following script and working on rehearsals with fight choreography and all that type of stuff. I was doing it 6-7 days a week.
Wow.
That's incredible, brother. Incredible.
But, you know, it's like anything. If you really want to do something, the people that will really do well will sacrifice some things to really get something done really well, right? And yeah, I think that. I don't say do that all your life, but there's a period of time when you get the opportunity to do something, you got to bust your balls to do it. Excuse me, but you know, you've got to really get out there and get things done. It's like you got guitars there, Robby, all the time. I'm sure you didn't. It didn't take you 2 seconds to do it. You were doing it year after year after year after year, right? Yep. So it's the same thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I still put a lot of time into it. A lot of time. On the other side of this, I mean, this is my studio. There's monitors and all this kind of stuff here, and a live room over here. But if I'm not playing, I'm writing, recording, producing, mixing. But it's like you said, it's a lot of hours.
Yeah,
a lot of hours. But I enjoy it. It's my passion.
Absolutely.
So that's
why it's fun, isn't it? Yeah, but that's the thing. We are very fortunate to be doing a job we love.
Yes.
You know, and I tell people, you know, find a job you love to do, because you know you'll do it really well.
Yeah,
I do 6 jobs, so I guess I'm just psychotic. So Matthew says that you should play Bond, bro, because you would kill it as James Bond.
Yeah, I've been told that a few times.
So just make the calls. You know,
Let's go. Hey,
have
Barbara,
your people call other people.
One of my best friends, actually, the godfather to my child, and I'm actually his godfather to his child, is Christian Moore. He's one of my partners in Europe, and his father's Roger Moore, or was Roger Moore.
Oh,
so
wow.
So I'm actually Roger Moore's grandson's godfather. So there you go. Not a lot of people know that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's never anybody's decision. It's basically those people. You go into something and you get chosen for whoever has the decision to make. And sometimes you could be doing something for a long time and nobody's picking you. And then all of a sudden somebody goes, I actually like that person, so I, think he'd be good or she'd be good in that particular role. So a lot of the time it is luck.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's how it is in the arts. And clearly if they came to you and said, we want you to be 007, you probably would go, yeah.
Okay, let me think about it.
Yeah.
I'll get back.
I'll get back to you.
I'll get back to you on that. Yeah.
Kimmy wants to know who you would like to make a movie with that you haven't worked with before. So everybody in the business or somebody specific?
Yeah. I mean, there's there's so many actors coming out now. I mean, there's some really good actors, and I watch different series and I go, oh, they're really good. But, I'd like to work with them. And some of the greats, obviously, the De Niros and the Pacinos. And actually, I've got to tell you a story about Pacino. It's funny. Early on in my career, I was at an Oscar party, and I was at this. A lot of the Oscars, what they do is they go present and then they leave. They don't stay there for the whole time. They stay there sometime and then they leave and they go to different parties, different people's houses. Well, this was one of those places where everybody went, and so I was sitting down. I was invited by somebody. I can't remember how. I'm sitting down in this apartment. It's a big apartment, and in Century City. And we're watching live, and you're watching the people on there come back through the door of the apartment. Well, I'm sitting there next to, oh God, I've forgotten his name. There was a lot of stars there, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, in comes Al Pacino, and he comes to sit, and I go to stand up like this, and he goes, "Don't," because he was like, "Don't stand up for me. Get back, sit." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." Yeah. You want to move over here? It's fine, Al. But it was just really, funny. Just go, don't. Because, just don't. He just said don't because I was going to go. Would you like this seat? He goes, don't.
Yeah.
Okay, sit on my lap. Is that awkward?
Yeah, sit on my lap. Would you like to sit here?
That's great, brother.
That's
hey, Savannah wants to know if you could tell us about Radical Road.
Radical Road was a company we started putting together a few years back for lower budget movies, but right now that's not working. We have a different line now. We actually are in the process of developing movies and studio facilities in Europe. That's all I can say right now because it's in the planning, not the planning stage. It's in the financing stages right now. And until it's actually through, I can't really sort of talk about it. But okay. The Radical Road was one of those where, because a lot of the studios, they do tests, or they try and figure out what is the optimum budget that they can make their money back. So the optimum budget, and this was about 4 or 5 years ago, was about $3.1 million. And they knew that they could get their money back since about 5 years. It's probably more, actually, probably 6, 7 years ago. And so we were planning on doing that budget level so that it would have the distribution and etc. So we would be almost guaranteed, because you never guarantee movies, the way to actually make money back. So that's why it was called Radical Road, because it was a road that not many people were taking. They were trying to do big movies, etc. And a lot of the time you have producers just going in and they'll just shoot a movie for $10-15 million without the proper distribution. And, there's a lot of factors involved in it. But today you have the whole streaming service, which then changes the whole game plan. The past 10 years has just changed the platforms out there. So what you can get and how you finance a movie sometimes, and what tax incentives you can get, et cetera, is really kind of how you have to structure your stuff. So you have to look at it very differently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's quite a bit of insight. I don't think people understand and what goes into actually putting a film together. Because
Well,
when you
yeah,
see something, you think it's a bunch of money, and they're going to make a bunch of money to the layman, you know.
yeah. Well, most people, I mean, the studios and that, they'll have their budget already done. They've got 20 million, 30 million just sitting there. They're part of their budget. We can go ahead and make that movie. I know who's going to make it. We've got the right production company. They've got it all set. But the independent producer is different. The independent producer, which is becoming an extinct animal these days, they basically have to find the money, and then they won't find the whole budget. They'll find a piece of the budget. They'll take it together from, a 30% tax credit or 25% tax credit or 40% tax credit, depending on where it is. And then they've got to figure out whether or not they can actually get that tax credit back, because there are some states back in, I want to say it was Chicago is Michigan. At some point in Michigan, they have a tax credit, and they'll 15 films will go and get their tax credit. So one is $1 million, another's 15 million, and they're a 30% tax rebate or a tax credit, depending on what it is. Usually it's a rebate. When it hits a certain level, there's no more money, even though you've already put your rebate in. So all of a sudden, you've got a $10 million movie that you're expecting $3 million back, but they've only got $1 million worth of tax incentive, tax money to give back to you. You're out of $2 million. You've got to go find it. So there are different. Canada's not. It's government backed. So therefore, the government backed portion of it means that doesn't matter what you make, the government's going to back that tax credit for you. Different countries work differently. Different states work differently. Texas is different than New Mexico. It's all very, very kind of convoluted. So you kind of figure out where you want to go. That's why you got Atlanta as a huge hub now, because there's a great tax credit, and that's where it initially pushed people. Atlanta, Georgia, has almost a 30 to 40% tax credit, depending on how you structured your production.
Wow.
There you go.
That's actually really impressive. So Dana wants to know, we'll kind of go back onto another subject here. Dana wants to know what it was like working with Joan Jett on the Highlander.
Joan. Yeah, Joan. Joan was cool. She was so into it. Some people you come on, they're doing a role, but Joan was really into doing it, and doing the sword fight and that. And I remember Joan. She also had this habit of we would rehearse in the hotel room, and we would order room service, but she didn't want the potatoes to touch the peas to touch the meat. So you would have plates coming in like this, like the waiter would come in with a stack of plates, each with a different thing on top of it. But she was so gung ho and doing stuff, and unfortunately for us, see, this is what I tell people when the sword experience. I say to people, when you train, you're training on a flat ground. When you go to film, you've got to look at what ground you've got. Sometimes it can be rocky, it can be on an incline, it could be a whole bunch of things. When we did the Joan Jett fight, it was on sand. And not only was it on sand, when you have I'll give you an example here. This puppy, right, is metal, right? So what they used to do is that they used to have these swords that there was a wire that would go through here that was attached on the inside to the metal part of the thing. The one end of this wire would go and touch the plus to a battery, the plus, and the other actor would have a wire that would attach to the negative of the battery, so that when we touched it, it would spark. Oh. So imagine fighting, right? Imagine fighting with somebody, with people with cable behind you, because the cable would go up your arm, through your dress here, and this cable runners behind you while you're running, trying to stand on your feet in sand, hitting swords together. That was the old-fashioned way of creating sparks. Now you just stick a little, special effect in. So Joan not only got, to learn a sword fight, she had to deal with all that crap too. So,
Oh, wow.
Oh, what a trooper, man! That's cool. I always actually wondered how they did that back in the day with that.
Yeah, it was a negative, positive touch, and you could run it across like this. You get that, you never get that in a real sword. I mean, it's only fantasy swords that do that.
Right.
We're going to have everybody watching the show trying this.
Let's get two batteries together, put it together.
So let's talk about the sword experience. What was the birth of that? You got those swords behind you. You have a website. You sell swords.
I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah, bring this website up.
Well, the sword
experience.
Well, the sword experience started in 2015. I kind of brought up different. I went to different areas to test it, see, because I saw so many different places that were so many different shows there then that were coming on. There was Lord of the Rings, there was Game of Thrones, there was Enter the Badlands, there was all these, and so many people were really kind of excited about it. So I said, let me just see how much, because people they'd ask me, would you do a sword? Would you teach a sword class? Would you teach a sword video? And I was like, no, I'm not interested in doing sword videos. And then I saw back then how into it people were, and I thought, well, it's a great fitness thing. It's a great thing. So I said, you know what? I don't want to start something that's called I'm not teaching you a specific style. I want to give you an experience as to what it's like in the movies, as well as train you, as well as take you to interesting places where you can experience this. So we started going to vineyards, castles, exotic places, all these different places. And we would create a 6-hour event where people got to learn how to use a sword. They would train, first of all, with all the safety features of it and how to handle it. And then they get to swing it with a partner. And then there was now it's evolved into a story where, we've always photographed and filmed people and given them a little video at the end. But now we film little like 5, 6, 7, 8 minute stories. Like the one we just did in Texas, in Austin, was a ghost town we actually used. It was a built ghost town. But what we did was I created a story about these people walking through the ghost town going, what's happening here? And this the history of the ghost town and what's going on. And then you see the sword experience people do, and one person goes, what are they doing? She goes, I don't know. There's all this swashbuckling stuff, but and she goes, well, back in the Old West, did they do that type of stuff? Well, women in the Old West were really kind of blah, blah, blah. And it's the woman asking the question. And suddenly she goes into her mind and she thinks, oh my God. And then you see her, she's now in the Old West, dressed in costume that they brought. All these people have dressed up in costume, and they do a sword fight. And then they cut back to the reality that she had this dream. So there's little stories that we create for people. It's a fun day out. And, so that's gone to, we do those. I do all these events, different events. Those are our elite events, which take us, to that. And then we have our academies, which the academy is really breaking down the fitness portion of it, how you do fitness and stretching and that, which helps you in everyday life. It helps you in your joints, in your movement, in your back, in your shoulders, and all that stuff when you reach for something. So it helps you rather than being sedentary, sitting down in front of a computer all the time. Right. And then there's the next one, which is the technique, to show you different techniques, angling, attacks, and all that. And then there's the performance choreography. So our academy days are about a 6-hour event where, you get to learn all these different things. And then we've got our retreats, which are like, I've got my first one coming up first one this year for 2 years, because we did one in Belize, we've done one in Germany, but we were going to do Ireland last year, but that didn't happen. And so we have that. And then we've got our we've actually just launched, we did our first online VertCon. We call it a VertCon. And we got another one coming up on May 15th, where I have 10 different instructors. I have celebrities, I have vendors. It's like an online convention, and you can go and join it and look at it for free. You can go in and look at it. So you go on our site, you can see it on our site. And if you want to join any of the specific categories, it's a $20 donation for us to run the program. So you've got 10 different instructors, from martial artists to stage combat people to meditation, fitness, all these different ones click on that events thing. You can see it there. Okay. When you scroll down, you'll see the VertCon, which is May 15th, virtual SXP, lights, camera, action. And so that one, and it'll be all day. So you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And, actually Ethan Detmeyer is actually doing the radio show for it, because we're going to have the radio going during the beginning of it. And so you can go and get celebrities' autographs. You can go, you'll see them face to face, as live as you can get. Or there are different vendors that we've got there that are selling different types of products. So, it's a fun type of day. All the ones you're going through now, the yellow ones are academy events. So you can tell the difference between the two.
So as a promoter myself, Adrian, I bring things in concerts and rock concerts, country concerts, and shows to West Texas. Man, I'd actually like to get involved in bringing this out here.
Oh, well, we could talk about this afterwards. I mean, seriously, I love doing these. In 2019, we did 27 events. 27.
Really?
I've traveled through 9 countries so far. And I've done it at the aqueducts in Italy. I've done it in Germany, the castles, in the schlosses. I've done it at massive chateaus in France, in Ireland. It's so much fun because I get to travel. People get to travel. They get the experience of doing it, and it's something different. It's not the same thing. So you get to do something cool, and you might get a vacation out of it at the same time.
Right?
So, yeah, I'm thinking Dana Selvey. That sounds like something. Her and she's got a sword, her husband. Come on now.
Dana should be there. Dana Selvey's great, and if you could, my brother, say hi to her. She's a good friend of mine.
Hi, Dana.
she's crushed on you for a long time. She's a roller derby girl, and she's a big supporter of our show. So I think she would be down to be part of that for sure. Do you know the whole story when you start a role? Brenda wants to know. So do you have the whole story outlined, or is it just a bit piece to get you started to say, yes, I want it?
Most of the time you get given the script. I'd say about 95% of the time you get a script or you get to read something. Nowadays they're tending to do, like if you're doing a role, they'll give you just certain sides for the role. And then they will, if it's a series, they'll give you certain sides that might not actually be any scene you do. Sometimes they are the scenes that you will eventually do on the show. So it varies, but I mean, films usually you get a script, whereas Woody Allen would just give somebody like 3 pages and get them to read it, and that'd be it, because then he wouldn't even give them a script until the day of the shoot. So there's different ways people do it, just to keep it real.
Keep it real.
Keep it
real.
The
action real. Keep it on real.
So not know what's going to happen, especially something like Game of Thrones, right? Where everything's like, oh wow, I didn't expect that. They probably a lot of people.
Do you know? I read the very first script for Game of Thrones.
Really?
My manager gave it to me, and I went, "Yeah, it's okay. We can look at it." I was like, I should have just jumped on it at that time and gone, because it was right up my alley. But it was right at the beginning. It was early 2000s, 2007, 8, I think it was, somewhere around there. But it was, I read the first script. It was. I loved it. I loved the show. I thought it was awesome.
Oh, it was amazing. What were you reading for, or what were you looking at? What part would you?
Well, it might have been the. Well, at the time, I think it would have been Stark. What's his name? Who got killed? Sean Bean's character.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten his name. Yeah, I've forgotten his name now.
Isn't that No, it's not Richard Stark.
No.
Lord Stark.
Who was it? It was. Stormborn. I mean, there's so many interesting names. The funny thing about that particular, I mean, who wrote it, right? It was George R.R. Martin, right? Yes, so George R.R. Martin actually did Beauty and the Beast that I did back in the 1980s. Beauty and the Beast, as well as he did an audio book that I recorded. His characters are so in depth and so like they start here and then somebody else comes in here and you forget them and then they reappear. The weaving he does with his characters is just incredible.
Oh, it's brilliant. Ned Stark.
Yeah, it really is. Ned Stark. That's it. Ned Stark. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, that storyline is so deep. I mean, it's so deep. There's so much depth to his writing. It's just astounding.
Yeah,
it really is.
I think he's on his new. I think he's on his new one. He's writing his new one right now.
Oh, really?
I have it under certain authority that he's in the middle of doing a new one, but we'll see.
Nice. So I'm going to share.
If it comes on your desk, you got to get it. It would only have lasted one season. Your head would have been cut off at the beginning of the first season.
Yeah, my wife turned around. My wife turned around and she goes, "Oh my God, Sean Bean's head! I mean, I can't believe it. Do you think he knew that?" But I'm like, look. It's in the thinking that was going to happen. So, right? that whole thing, him dying, was in the book. So they were pretty faithful, fairly faithful to the book. And so
they really
he was dying.
Yeah,
he was dying.
So I can't let you out of here without bringing up this role that you played, brother, with another crush for many men. Let's go to Love Potion. With Sandra.
My name is Enrico Bazzoli. I own the company that you drive. I play Italian at the time. Yeah, Sandra was great. That was one of her first roles, actually. And I shot that in Atlanta. We shot that in Atlanta. It was fun because there was Tate Donovan was on the show, and you know what actors do it's kind of lonely to a degree because you get sent to a different place and then you get a hotel room and they're like, see you later, bye. We'll see you at production in the morning. So what are you going to do? So a lot of the actors get together, they go to dinner, so me and Sandra said, okay, we'll meet you. We'll go to Tate's room and we'll meet. So I went to Tate's room and then Sandra jumps on my back and I had a necklace on at the time. She hit me in the wall and split the necklace. I'm like, oh shit. She said, oh, I owe you that. I don't worry, I'll get you a new one. She still owes me that. I think I need interest on that. I think I'm going to collect interest next time I see her. Yeah. No, I saw her right after that. It was about a year later, I think it was, and it was just before she got Demolition Man that she did with Stallone. You know,
right.
Was it Demolition Man? Yeah, I think it was Demolition Man, where he was the cop. Not was it Stallone? Yeah, I think so. Where she was the cop in the future, and she was. Yeah, exactly that one. Yeah. So she said, "I think I'm going to do this role. It's pretty good. I think it's a good role." And after that, she just took off. So I think she's done some great stuff.
But she owes you a necklace.
Yeah, she owes me a necklace. Yeah, I'm gonna have to write my diary up.
Right.
With interest. Yeah, it's a diamond necklace now.
How many men would have took Sandra jumping on their back to give up that right, Robby?
Oh, right.
Brother, I've got to stay in touch with you because I'm really, really excited about the sword experience and want to get involved in that. I want to buy one of those swords back there, and you sell swords as well through that website, right?
Yeah, we do. We the pieces you can use and pieces that you can put on for show as well. So we have a variety of them, and you can see them on our site. So it's a fun hobby.
I'll bet. So we're going to leave you in the side room so you and I can talk for just a moment here while we wrap things up. But Adrian, I can't thank you enough for coming on with us, my brother. It's been
guys, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you bearing with me for an hour.
No, it was great, brother. It was great. All right, Adrian Paul on the Hangout Live. We're going to put him down here in the side room. Robby.
Yes.
Come on, dude. How cool is that hanging out with him for an hour?
Killer. Very cool. Educational too, which is always good.
It was.
Educate us and people, very, very cool.
That was cool, man. So until next week, we've got Hayden coming on. We're going to do a little bit of clips about him. Hayden is a guitar player playing with the likes of George Strait, Rick Trevino, and currently he's filling in with my favorite band, the State Line Band. So we'll have him on next week. They just won Best New Band in Texas in the Texas Music Awards. It's going to be a great show. And until then, we love you. Be safe. Be good to each other. And we'll see you then.